I knew that would be the one.
When they say, I want to say, come on, man, this one gonna touch down for sure.
That is,
When they see that one, they say, yes, this is the one here. And I ain't even giving you the big law preamble. Let me just jump straight into it, right? So this one reason I got the ice tonight, but we can make it through. So this lady asks on a forum, can I reject a paternity test as a mother of the child? You already see where this is going. Ex-husband wants a paternity test for our daughter. I have a couple of reasons for not wanting this to happen.
A couple?
You think there's only one?
There's only one.
Only one, but let's hear what she has to say. Firstly, it is my child, and I don't want anyone taking her DNA without my consent. I don't want to give that consent.
Okay, that's the
first reason. It's your child.
Right?
Secondly, the money that my ex-husband provides in child support is vital to my daughter and I having a safe, stable place to live. If it turns out that a certain someone else was the father.
Just hypothetically, though, is spitballing it. Put it out there.
That's a guess, yeah. My daughter and I would be thrust into poverty. Is it possible to reject the DNA test of my daughter? Is it possible to mandate my ex-husband continue to pay child support even if he isn't the father, given that he undertook a fatherly role for 5 years before he left us? No. I tell you, I'm here tonight, Neil. I am here tonight. Before you speak, Neil, let's go and let's watch this particular video, all right?
How can a man walk away from a child that he has been raising for 3, 5, 10, 15 years simply because the DNA test shows that he's not the biological father? Hear me out here. I'm not being insensitive. I know that his world has just been turned upside down. I know he feels betrayed. He's devastated. I empathize. I sympathize with his predicament. However, how is one able to walk away from a child that one has bonded with, loved, nurtured, poured blood and sweat into, simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father?
I'm struggling.
I understand getting rid of the wife or the girlfriend. The word I actually want to use starts with a W and rhymes with sure. Get rid of the W. But the children or the child, the innocent child, it is flummoxing to me. Now, I'm not a man, and I do not know how this impacts men. I also know that there's deep shame. But were I in that predicament, of course I would be devastated. I'd be hurt and betrayed. But then I'd let the children know, or the child know. You may not be my biological child, but you're still my child. I love you. You're my child in my heart. I've bonded with you. I've raised you. So nothing changes. Now, I know a lot of men worry about, oh, then I have to continue paying I have to pay child support now that we're not together. So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know what? Even though everything has changed, nothing should have changed, because it's still the child that I raised, bonded with, and loved. And in an attempt not to pay child support, one ends up cutting off one's nose to spite one's face, because you got to look at the big picture, the relationship with that child, the continued relationship, and the ability to go ahead and raise and nurture that child, because you already have that bonded relationship. But once again, because I'm not a man, I do not understand how anybody can walk away from a child. Story time. My husband had a boss about 20 years ago. This gentleman's son had some medical issues. And to make a long story short, he found out that his 19-year-old son was not his biological child. Needless to say, he was devastated. But you know what? He had raised this child for 19 years, was paying for college. This was his son, and he was not going to let him go. And my heart broke for him, but I was so proud of this man, because he did not walk away from his child. And I think at times some men might think walking away from the child is a way to punish the woman for her betrayal. But at the end of the day, the person you're hurting is the child. And I can't help but wonder, won't you be traumatized as a person walking away from someone that you've bonded with, that you've loved? For the man, isn't that traumatic? I mean, I really do not understand. I just cannot relate. And once again, I'm not a man. I'm sensitive to the hurt, to the pain, to the betrayal. But is it right to walk away from a child you've bonded with simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father? Food for thought. Talk to you later.
Oh, Derek.
Yes, Neil. Your thoughts,
No, my initial thought, I'm going to be very honest here. My initial thought is you're right. You cannot understand the perspective of man because you're not a man. Therefore, you should shut the fuck up. But right, but that is not a fair. That's not a fair thing to say because it's all in an attempt to have a wider discussion and for there to be mutual understanding amongst everyone, right? So I am glad this conversation is coming up again. When the child failed the DNA test, get F. I'm glad it's coming up again, right? First things first, you sat in the car looking very pretty and eloquent, speaking very succinct and multisyllabically, but you thought a whole level of shit there. I can tell you why. You will never understand as a woman what it feels like to bond with a child and then find out that it is not yours. You will never understand. It is, you will never understand. I was thinking about an analogy, right? Think about this. Imagine, ladies, you've carried a child for 9 months. You've fallen pregnant. I always like that term, fallen pregnant, right? You've fallen pregnant, right? And you, in those 9-10 months, you are, bonding with the child, you're feeling the kicks, you're picturing what the child gonna look like, if it can got your characteristics and physical traits, if it can have the father's traits. You are raising this child. As your belly swells, you are saying, "Shh, you're bonding with this baby." You're rubbing the baby, the belly, and you talking the belly, go to sleep, baby, and you talking. You're breathing with pride. You enjoying that first steps into motherhood. The baby is born, right? Baby is born. You deliver, baby healthy, you healthy, everything healthy. But the baby goes off into the little nursery incubator part there in the hospital. Sometime later, you are given a baby, you raise this baby, right? Sometime later, you find out the baby ain't yours in the hospital, make a mistake, right? This ain't your baby. This baby don't, you born with this baby, but this baby ain't yours. This is not the baby that you would have bonded with for the 9-10 weeks of pregnancy. This is not the baby you wondered would look like you or not. Baby, hospital make mistake. Oh shoot, my fault. This is not your baby. Child is 15. How you gonna feel then, ladies? Yeah. How you gonna feel there, ladies? You would be like, well, this is the one that
baby God, anyway, so.
God give me this baby, put me in touch with the baby ain't gonna raise. Or are you gonna look out for the baby that was once in your stomach? Now, take that analogy, replace the hospital, a Spartan, sterile, nondescript entity that you have no relationship with, versus the man you lay down with or the man that you decide to marry. Right? The man that you decide to hitch your wagon to, whether it is a relationship of any kind. Imagine that man finding out sometime later that the child that he has, because we are fathers and we know.
Yep.
The first steps, the first burst lip, the first tooth coming out, the first exam, falling out, scraping the knee, the sicknesses. My son was in the hospital and all sorts of things early on in his life and all sorts of things. See my son there, so you ain't know if you to come and tell me that this is not my child, but you gotta continue paying child support. So
you just got kind of roll with it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just take that. That's an L. This is a small little L, you know. Just take that.
Well,
I don't know, you know, this. I don't know who needs to hear this, right? I don't know who needs to hear this, right? But the ultimate betrayal in this life for a man is for him to pour into a woman and a child or children, and then finding out that not only was the relationship founded on lies and betrayal, but that the child that he has nurtured, raised, fathered, and actually been present for all of that time, or the children, does not belong to him. You see, I could do it too. I could bring multisyllabic words and make you feel a certain sort of way, make you feel a tear coming out your eye too, just like the lady in the car. But it is foolishness. And then you want to come and say, well, how I can reject this because I want to maintain child support. You have messed up to start. You have made bad decisions. And you really are the true villain of this piece, you know. It's people like you that to me up there with Diddy. Because you knew full well that this child ain't belong to this man. But you played along. You lied. Shoot, I bet even sometimes you push the man to be that father for that child. Then now the relationship ain't working out. The man no got a court system of pay child support. The man want to know, well, I want to see if everything pretty up or not. All of a sudden, no, you can. It's like you go to buy a car, right? You go to the man selling a second-hand car, or even a new car, man selling a car. Because we got a situation here in Barbados where there is a ring of stolen cars out of UK.
Yep.
And people now scrambling. People take out loans and all sorts of things to buy a car, only to find out that the car has been stolen and is being confiscated. So you can imagine, can you imagine paying for a car loan? Every month you paying $1,000 for a car you cannot drive, that is not yours, that you can't see, you can't wash, you can't drive. You gotta catch bus, but you gotta pay for thing. That is the same thing, ladies.
But a different level.
ladies, men love really, really hard. When a man commits, whether it's to you, to children, to his purpose in life, to himself, whatever, once a man commits and a man says, I am there, word is born, I am going to be a part of, I am going to do for, I can do right by, that man is telling you everything you need to know about his integrity and character. That man is telling you that should it come to it, he will lay down his life for you and this child or children. That is his mindset. That is his makeup. If it come to it and it got to choose between you and this child, or this child and you, or these children and you, or whatever, and your comfort and stability, I will lay down my life to it. The tenet, the covenant of relationships, marriage, is the fact that I will love you unconditionally, you will love me unconditionally, and we will raise a family together in this unit, under this covenant, under this tenet. And you gonna come and tell me that you didn't love me unconditionally, you step out, you've broken the covenant, you never come clean to me, you never told me anything, you never honored your part of this agreement. Furthermore, you let this life perpetuate for however long, because to me, a day is too long.
I know I got to honor my part of it.
And but I still got to honor my commitment. You see, this is the part that is this is emblematic of this whole conversation between men and women, and where we are now with gender roles, and where we are with traditional men versus traditional women, etc. And how women don't want to be traditional because that is seen as oppressive and secondary patriarchy to the role of a man, right? Where some believe that men have a lot of breaks, privileges, and concessions in society because they are men. This is basically what this is saying. We men, for all ladies, what you see about rights and privileges and, you know, patriarchy and all sorts of things, we still got to take the horn, take the jacket or jackets, and still got to do right by. No advances in technology has bring it such that you got to do a DNA test, though. And I would like to see if I can put down money every month for something that I have signed on to and committed to, I gotta know at least it's mine, though. Just like the cars. If I paying $1,000 for a Audi Q7, I paying.
They need to be able to drive it.
I gotta be able to drive it, and I gotta know that when I see deductions when the month come and I make the payment in that short repair or whatever, At least
Like,
I could enjoy the benefits of the commitment that I have signed on to. No, it is foolishness. Jamaica is looking to sign a bill and put it into legislation that every child born has to undergo a DNA test just to
yep.
prove paternity. Huh? Do you
Because
know
this
how
thing is more rampant than people want to acknowledge. That's the problem.
yeah.
This thing is way more rampant than people want to acknowledge. And the hurtful part is that men are always the ones left literally holding the bag, like, cha. So you gotta eat that. You gotta eat the trauma of losing a child.
Losing a relationship too?
Yeah, because you can't do it anymore. That got
Yeah.
done. So you got your world destroyed. Mommy and child good, ish. Technically speaking, because they can still go along, right? Children don't left out the parent, the mother like that. You know what I mean? It's easy to kind of, discard a father, if you want to put it that way. They will tell you that quick. In modern times, they say, hey, you can do it with a man, right?
You need no man.
So, you need a man for that, right? So when he providing for that child, how he supposed to go forward, move from here, and go and get a child of his own?
But that's the point, Derek. This mindset, right? You're 1,000% right. But this mindset, right, is so callous and disregarding
Exactly.
of the man in this situation. There is literally, quite literally, no consideration for the man in
Correct.
this context, right?
Absolutely no regard.
No regard for the man, his mental health, his well-being, his finances, nothing, his dreams. Because, ladies, contrary to popular belief, right? Some of us men actually do want family, Just like how one of us grow up and imagine the family and the children, and I got a little girl or I got a little boy, I plotting she here, or I about there dressing the little man or whatever. The same way, you all have dreams of raising children, having children and raising them. It's the same thing some of us men have, I could not wait to have a little man, a boy. Huh? That's something that I want for you. Time I was a youngster. I got a little man that I could teach how to be a man, how to play sports, how to understand the
Correct.
rigors of life, not to have the traps of me. Huh? And you gonna come and tell me no? We have made an agreement. We've entered into a commitment. Shoot, in this case that you're talking about that brought this whole thing to the fore, this is a marriage. So we went through the government. The government get involved in business. Huh? We sign papers. We have said to the government and to under God that we are going to honor the covenant of our marriage and start a family. No, the man got a child, no, he can't claim for no dependency and no taxes. Quick challenge is, what is the benefit for a man to continually pay for and raise a child that is not his? And this is the thing, Derek. Just as you said, if you had come to us in the beginning and said, I made a mistake, I know thing, but there's a chance, there's a likelihood that this child is not yours.
We can work it out.
Let me do a DNA. I am sorry. Let me move forward. That means that you would have taken accountability for your actions. You've been honest and transparent, and we can move forward. Just like the cars that's stolen. If you come to me and tell me, no, I got this Q7 Audi here, a little spicy, a little hot.
Yeah, so just be careful.
But I'm gonna sell it to you for a good price. Then I will make an informed decision on instance to buy or not. But you see, when you operate in bad faith, and you do not consider anyone but yourself, but in my one part, you talk about caring about child and breaking the bond with the child. You don't care nothing about no child. Because if you really cared about the child, you raise the child in truth, right? You would raise the child in
You will be in first place.
In good faith. But you have lied to the child all this time. You have lied to the father all of this time. I know you're trying to gaslight me into telling me that I can break this bond with this child. What about the child? What about the child? Which is funny because one of the women is the same one that say, do not stop around a bad marriage for the children.
Cheese on bread. But here's the thing, Neil, because the girlfriend in the video was wondering how man could just throw away the relationship with each other.
We talking things. We talking things, right?
We talking things. But women throw away marriages all the time.
You understand? Shoot. Graduate your marriage. Graduate your marriage, you're happy. Children be damned. I
Yeah,
can do for me.
yeah.
I've done for the children already. It's time to do for me, right? Y'all don't. This is nothing to do with the child, and y'all are caring about the well-being and the mental space of the child and the bond with the father. You don't care anything about that because watch. Now that the child is not his, you gotta break that news to him as well, or to her, the child. You gotta break it to the child as well. You have to inform that child that that child is no longer, this is not your biological father. But now the child, who's my father? There's all a lie. It's the same thing.
It's more to do. So it's easier to keep the father around paying child support, supporting each other, etc. Right? Than to opposed to severing the bonds altogether. I know you got to kind of say you have the hard task to say to that child, yeah, you know, there ain't your father is Neil. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So then you
That
gonna
like
ask these uncomfortable questions.
because
The
here's the
child.
thing, Derek. Here's the thing, Derek. Some women want to never have to face the accountability
Correct.
that because all right, the father gonna come and say you's a this and that and next and third. Forget that. You would never want your child to think that of you.
Correct.
You don't want your child to think less of you and to judge you and condemn you because you know you did wrong. This is the thing that's pissed me off, you know. We know, but we form the fool, as my wife to say, we form the fool, right? We get down and we say, oh, but what about the children? And oh, we need to bond and we need to this and oh, we don't want da da da. All you studying is money. And you talk about some men that leave the wife and the child out of spite. No, when it is
It's
put the mom
Trumpy.
on just but
The
hold
man
on,
gonna deal with it. The
but
man
when
gonna
it
deal with it.
but Derek, they just put the man on child support in those situations for spite because the man has kicked up such a fuss and rejected the whole kit and caboodle. Because some men can see that situation and say, not me. I'm done with that. They want to know, child need a father. But I don't want to go for the man I sleep with because he's a dada. You is the right man.
You,
So come.
you.
No. We need to stop this. And ladies, until you can understand the pain and the sting of a betrayal, of having to raise a child that is not yours unbeknownst to you and finding out some years in distance. They got a video. A man in his 70s. The man find out that his two adult sons, nearly 40, were not his. The wife then are going along.
Yep. She ain't gonna answer to nothing. And he
But
has no legacy.
you understand? This man will raise these two
His
children.
bloodline stops with him.
Exactly. So this man raised these boys. These men is near 40. His wife dead and gone. He raised these boys. These men got children, so he got grandchildren. So he thought man up in age, man up in age. So now he got health concerns. So it's not like, all right, well, like man needs a blood transfusion or whatever. Let me check with my sons. Oh, these ain't blood don't match. These ain't yours. And the man
Married 50 years.
Married 50 years, raised children to near the age of 40, got grandchildren. Huh? It throws everything out of whack because of your poor decisions. Your poor decisions. You is who decided to step out on a marriage. You decided to lie to the man. You decided to lie to your child or children. And you lived with that lie in perpetuity for an undisclosed amount of time, an unknown amount of time. And you want to come and gaslight me and tell me about born a child and all this and that. I think what has upset me the most about those situations is how the women is be sticking out. You're wrong, you know. You're wrong, you know. You have always been wrong. You have not cared about anybody but yourself and your selfish intent. Talk about child. You care about your child, the well-being of your child. If you care about the well-being of your child, like child know your father. You real father. Huh? But you come in now talking about how, think of the child. Oh, what about the child? How would I raise this child and the child and me and the child be? And realize the pronouns this woman use, you know, my child. I don't think my child should have to go undergo a thing, but I want your money. This is the funny thing about it, you know, there. My child should not undergo a DNA test to prove if you are the father, but I am still entitled, and the child is still entitled to your money. You realize how the pronouns is work there?
Yeah.
Women that do things like this, right, that have men raising children that are not theirs and wearing jackets are the worst type of, well, no, they're the second worst type of people on this planet. People that's troubled children is
Yeah.
number one for me. People that's troubled number one is them is number one and will always be number one. But you see, women that is step up on the mind, got men raising children believing that it's theirs, man, they got a special place in hell for one of mine. When they would never know, y'all would never know. And that's a form of abuse, right? That's a form of manipulation. That's a fraud.
A fraud. It's a fraud. I should be charged. But you know, Neil, that's another story for another time. Well, this is it. Send it short, like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any content we got coming for you guys. We can see you guys again soon. Peace.
The contaminated environment in the tutus about that.